Alright, hello guys. Today is just going to be me making a review of my Paladin's class and how I built him and what the end game looks like for a Paladin and why it's just one of my favorite classes. So I've been following Larian and the expedition to try to get their hands on Dungeons and Dragons for a long time. I'm a huge D&D fan and I was a huge fan of Divinity Original Sin when it was first released. When I heard Baldur's Gate 3 was in development, I was super excited for it. I knew it had time to brew and they released it into the alpha and then the beta, and then finally we have one of the best games in the world, period. And I've been having ridiculous amounts of fun playing this game, and I want to show you how my paladin is built like, and I'll go through with you what I have done with him in a bit. Now you must understand that some of these stats distributions may not be very accurate from what you see, and the reason being is because I have some items that actually give me um, do you want to continue? Yes. No. Okay. Yeah. So I do have some items that actually gives me a flat 23 strength and a flat 23 constitution, and those are some very powerful items that you get late in the game. And because of that, my stat distribution may be a little bit skewed. But for those of you early game players, I'll show you what the stat distribution should look like. But yeah, here's my paladin's build. So to start off, you take, of course, paladin, and you select your oath. There's Oath of Ancients, Devotion, and Vengeance. While I think Oath of the Ancients and Devotion are both unique in their own right, the better ones are definitely Oath of the Ancients or Oath of Vengeance. Oath of Devotion for some reason just does not have very good subclass features, while Oath of the Ancients is pretty fun in its own right. Though I think Oath of the Vengeance is the strongest just because of its offensive capabilities and it's a bit more streamlined. It doesn't have to give you too many things to do. You just focus on attacking enemies with smites and just going into the fight while handling concentration-based spells that keep you in the fight, such as Haste. Haste is one of the strongest spells in the game, and having high concentration and just raw DPS to back it up means you're pretty much like a god, and that's all you want to do as a paladin because you lack in things like AoE. So you want to focus on your single target advantages and just ham down. Like go to the boss and just go ham on them, focus them down, and usually fights end within a minute. It's pretty insane because I feel like the game is just not difficult enough. And it could be because I'm playing this Paladin class, but I also feel just in general, looking at the way my allies have played the game, our experience from Divinity Original Sin carries us into this game just to be too strong and too overpowered. I would like to have another higher difficulty, perhaps in Honor mode, or perhaps a Expert mode, or something like a Hell mode, or something like that. I wouldn't mind having a new game plus as well because we absolutely love this game and we will definitely keep playing it. But Larian, if you're listening or watching this, please make the game more difficult because Divinity Original Sin felt like a far more difficult game, and this one just feels too easy. And please, you don't have to nerf the Paladin to achieve that. Now, for ability score distribution, let me just clear and show you what a regular ability distribution should look like. You want to put +2 to your strength and +1 to your charisma, and you just want to pump these out to the maximum. Now remember, when you have an ability score that is odd number, for example, let's say I have wisdom at 8, I have -1. At 10, I have 0. At 11, I gain nothing. It's still 0. At 12, I gain +1 to my wisdom checks. So this means every 2 points is when you actually gain added score to your checks and saving throws. So no point leaving any of your stats in odd numbers. So for my strength, I'm going to drop it back down to 16. And that's something important to note. Why would you ever put it at 17? Perhaps you want to get a specific feat where it allows you to get +1 to strength and that feat's passive abilities. Ability score improvement does not work very well when you want to actually gain a feat that gives you other abilities, and I generally think ability score improvement is the last thing that you want to go for because you don't know any other feats that are interesting for you. I know a lot of people just say go straight for ability score improvement because it's pretty straightforward and pretty easy. And while I do agree that it's pretty straightforward and easy, because of the ability the game gives you to just respec your character as you like, you actually want to explore all the different feats and handle the unique circumstances that you will encounter when you actually try using those feats. So if you leave your strength at 17 and you take a feat like, I don't know, there's one feat that basically prevents you from staying prone for too long and increases your strength and range and whatnot. If you take a feat like that, you get 18 strength because you can +1 to your strength, and you gain the benefits of that feat. So I'll show you that in a while. But yeah, so 16 strength, you want your dex to be 10 and you want your wisdom to be 10 because you do rely on these two to prevent a lot of, to help you give some saving throws to certain spells that come your way. A lot of spells are dexterity and wisdom oriented, so you want to have at least those two in 10. Wisdom and Charisma is the Paladin's actual proficiency. So you see you can get +2 to your saving throws for Charisma and Wisdom. Strength is actually not one of it. So Strength is actually one of the downsides, in a Paladin because you don't get the proficiency bonus to your Strength. So in saving throws, the Strength doesn't really gain any advantages from it. You also don't gain any advantages from your dex saving throws, which is why you do need some dex. It's kind of the weakness of the Paladin because you'll be wearing heavy armor, which means that you don't gain any other benefits from dexterity. But you just need the dex to be at least 10 so you don't take too much damage. As for Constitution, make it 14, and that's about as high as you need to go. And it's very, very important because Constitution is what you use to maintain concentration, and concentration is where most of your spells will come from. And you want to reduce playing concentration spells so you can actually maximize it, because the way concentration works is you can only concentrate on one concentration spell at a time, and if you cast another concentration spell, you will replace the previous concentration spell. I hope I said that correctly, but yeah, it's what it is. You don't need any intelligence. You can be very stupid early on in the game, but don't worry. As you gain the items that I have found, you will be able to basically set your stats in this way. You gain charisma, wisdom. So I'm gonna just put all into my charisma 16, wisdom 16. Constitution. I don't need constitution actually because of the item. Let's max my dex, and let's just put my intelligence at 10. Dex is maximum 14, so intelligence is 12. Okay, so this is the late game build in order to utilize or maximize the items that I have with me, and I'll show you why in a bit. Skill proficiencies, you just want to go religion, insight, persuasion. Insight, persuasion works very well together with your intimidation. You'll be able to handle a lot of discussions and communications with good insight and then intimidate your opponent or persuade them. And this is a very good way to run the paladin. Religion is something very optional. You can also go for something like history, but generally all these are intelligence based, so you won't really be able to do very well in them. You rather instead go for something like deception or even performance, and they'll be pretty fun and funny as well. I'm just going for religion because at this point I have enough intelligence stat, and I'll be able to handle some conversations with religion. But let me tell you, in the game, generally you don't need that much religion. You rather have a character that has good arcana because of their high intelligence to handle religion checks, because usually religion items are sort of linked to arcana items. So yeah, that's about it. Let me just confirm this. And let me show you what my items look like. So at this point in the game, I have the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength, which give me straight 23 strength. So as you can see, even though I had only 8 strength earlier, it sets my strength to straight to 23, and that is pretty insane. I also have the Amulet of Greater Health, which sets my Constitution to 23 as well. So I only needed to put stats in all the other paths. But if you don't have it, follow the earlier distribution which I explained. Now, leveling up. Here we go. As a level 2 paladin, you are one of the best level 2s in the game because you gain a whole bunch of abilities. This is insane. You literally have to scroll down to see it. You gain a whole set of spells, you gain all your divine smite abilities, and you gain spell slots as well as increased health. Now, with your fighting style, generally you want to get either defense or great weapon fighting. Dueling is very good early in the game because you'll be able to find a scenario where you can get a good shield and a good one-handed weapon, and plus 2 damage early on in the game is still pretty good. But later on in the game, especially after level 5, plus 2 damage is pretty useless because you'll be facing opponents with like 90 to 100 hit points, and this is negligible. So protection is also pretty useless because it's very specific. It'll be 1.5 meters close to an ally, and an enemy has to come within range to also attack that same ally. More than often, if you're close to an ally, enemies will line up for an AoE spell, and you don't want to be caught in those situations, so you generally want to be spread out in most fights, and you won't be able to use this. Defense is very, very good because let's say you're wearing heavy armor, your AC is going to be something close to 16, 17, 18. Enemies are going to want to roll something like, I don't know, 13, 14 with a plus 2 or 3 to be able to try to hit you. And the plus 1 can make a huge difference to offset them. It also almost like negates their proficiency bonuses in a way. Yeah, that's a pretty interesting way of looking at it, but that's what it is. Great weapon fighting is one of the best things in the game if you have a great weapon, which is a two-handed. If you want to go sword and shield, that's totally fine with me, but great weapon fighting is pretty awesome. You can go sword and shield and utilize defense, or you can go great weapon fighting because if you roll a 1 or 2 on a damage die, it will allow you to re-roll that number. So let's say you have 8, um, you're rolling like 8 dice, right? They are like 8d6 worth of damage, and that's something like what you'll be doing later in the game. Um, so you're rolling 8d6, you will roll a minimum of 3 on each of those. And of course, the re-roll doesn't guarantee that you're always going to roll above 1 or 2. right? Because it's just only rerolled once. So you can still reroll a 1 or 2, but more than often it makes sure that you have a higher chance of rolling a higher number. So you'll at least get a 3 as a minimum out of the 8, and you'll always deal a minimum of 24 damage for the 8 dice rolls, instead of ending up dealing something like 8, right? So that's a significant difference, so I like this thing to take. Prepare spells early on in the game. Let me show you what the best spells are. You want to take Command. It's a very, very powerful spell early in the game. Shield of Faith is pretty good early in the game because it gives you plus 2 AC, and not many enemies can go beyond that. Bless is very, very powerful early and late in the game. Lasts for 10 turns, is concentration. So when you're running this, you don't want to run any other concentration spells. But it's very good when you're fighting a lot of large mobs where you just want to clear them off quickly. And you don't really want to concentrate on something like haste because you don't really take full advantage of it. Instead, you want to help your allies, you want to protect your allies. This is a great way to go about it. Bless really gives bonus to attack rolls and saving throws, which is huge. The other thing, Cure Wounds is not very good. Thunderous Smite is pretty good because there's no concentration and it's a strength save. A lot of enemies that don't have high strength will easily get hit by this. Divine Favor is not very good. Wrathful Smite is pretty strong early in the game, but it's concentration, so be careful with it. Let's take Bless. There we go. Now, at level 3, you gain the Divine Health. It's a very niche class feature. I've only encountered this story-wise maybe once or twice. It's not something that you often come across and not something you can fully enjoy or take advantage of. Spell slot, and then you gain one of the best actions in the game, which is Abjure Enemy. You can fight in them, and not a concentration. It uses your Oath charge, but it takes an action. Vow of Enmity is a bonus action. Gives you 10 turn advantage. This is very good to mark down bosses and to get rid of them. And as a paladin, because your weakness is that you don't have AoE spells, you generally want to use your single target to just find the boss, Vow of Enmity them, and then just go ham and bring them down in like 2 turns. You also gain Bane, which is the opposite of Bless, and because it's concentration, you can't have both running at the same time. You generally want to have another ally that's running something like Bane, so you can take full advantage of the fight. So it's like a very good buff and a very good debuff. Bless and Bane go very well hand in hand. Hunter's Mark is just not very good, but you get it for free anyway, so just keep it. You don't gain any of the new spells at this level, but instead you gain just another Lay on Hands charge, and you can pick your first feat. Now, personally for me, let me tell you what feats are actually good. Ability score improvement is the last option that you want to go for, but it is still decent if you want to get some extra stats early on in the game. If you're pumping things into like stuff like strength, charisma, or even intelligence or constitution, I think you gain a lot of advantages. Wisdom, dexterity, adding more to those don't really give you much. If you're a finesse fighter, yes, perhaps. But having more strength is pretty cool. You can jump further, you can carry more stuff. Having higher charisma, you can basically gain a lot of advantages as a paladin, spellcasting modifier, stuff like that. High wisdom, intuition, you can get detect spells and detect traps and stuff like that. High intelligence is more for visit specifically, but it also gives you increased spell slots because you increase memory. Constitution allows you to maintain concentration, so you always want to get this as high as possible to take full advantage of it, but not before your strength and charisma. Dexterity, of course, if you want more AC, but it's useless for a heavy armor master. So if you're wearing heavy armor, dexterity doesn't really give you any AC. More so, it just helps you avoid the effects of certain spells that target your dexterity. The other one that's actually good is dual wielder, super fun. I was dual wielding warhammers very early on in the game. It also gives you +1 to your AC, so you don't have to worry about not holding a shield. And early on in the game, shields only give you like +2 AC. So by using dual wielder and the fighting style of defense, you get +2 AC and you can dual wield, which is pretty awesome, pretty insane. Warhammers early on in the game is really, really fun. You can also go 2 levels into fighter to gain the action surge, and you can also gain the benefit of the fighter's fighting style, which allows you to dual wield weapons and add your proficiency bonus to your offhand weapons attack. It is insane. It's really, really fun if you want to do it that way. You can play dual wielder early on in the game. It's really, really good. The other one that's good is GWM. GWM allows you to take advantage when you actually land a critical or kill a monster. You can use your bonus action to do another attack. So make sure you don't accidentally use your bonus action that turn and then land the critical, because then you'll be wondering why can't I continue to do my third attack. You will not be able to because you've already used your bonus action. So this is a resource that you'll spend per turn, so be careful of losing it. The downside of this is the -5 to attack rolls, which if you ask me is a very, very painful nerf. It's not worth the extra 10 damage if you can't land the attack, because if you miss it, you don't land any damage at all, right? But if you're able to negate this, especially with extra attack, you'll be able to land 20 damage additional per turn, and if you have haste, that's 40 damage, which is absolutely insane. That would be a single enemy killed just from the raw damage of GWM. So this is something that you can consider if you have allies that are able to bless you, or you have the Oil of Accuracy, or you even have Bardic Inspiration, then you'll be able to utilize this even better. Heavy Armor Monster is not very good. As you can see, this is an example where your strength gets +1. So if you have 17 strength, you can get 18 strength this way, and then you can decrease non-magical attacks by 3. I remember there was one called Athlete. Yeah, this is the one. Athlete. When you're prone, standing up, uses less movement, and your jump distance also increases by 50. This is really fun. You can jump like huge distances. You can get +1 to your strength. So this is one way to use the odd strength number of 17 to make it 18, and then you get some benefits. Athlete is also pretty fun. After GWM, Heavy Armor, Lucky is a very powerful, I would say, feat in the game. It's good for any class. If you're not sure what other stats to get before you consider ability score improvement, consider Lucky, because Lucky improves your attack rolls, ability checks, or saving throws. It basically allows you to play the game just better. It's like a hack, and it's really, really strong. Mace Slayer is fun. Basically, if you are melee range of any spellcaster, it doesn't have to be a mage. It can be even a paladin, or another fighter. Fighters don't really have spells, but let's just say this one does, right? It's a special fighter. It's a multi-class fighter. So when you approach the fighter, if it's going to cast a spell, you have advantage on saving throws against that spell, and you can use your reaction to attack that caster. Remember, reaction is also a resource. So if you have another reaction ability such as Shield Bash or Attack of Opportunity, those will not work if you have used your reaction here to attack the mage or the spellcaster. So remember that. Enemies also have disadvantage on concentration saving throws when you attack them. This only works very well if the specific enemy is concentrating on something. So if you know an enemy is concentrating on something, you want to go and mark them down. You just rush towards them, you teleport towards them with Misty Step or something, or you jump towards them, and you start fighting them. And then they can't really move away from you because you're kind of scary. You have attacks of opportunity. They have to teleport away. More than often, they will be able to. That's one of the downsides of this thing. But even though they can teleport away, you will still be able to use your reaction to get the attack. In a regular opportunity attack, it won't work, but Mage Slayer allows you to use your reaction to immediately attack them. And that's pretty cool. So they don't have to cast a offensive spell. Even if they cast a defensive spell on themselves or an ally, you can still take the chance to attack them. So this is very, very good against mages. All the magic initiates are not very good for you. Just forget about it. Martial Adept is pretty fun. If you ask me which are the two good strikes, I would say Disarming Attack is very strong. Allows you to possibly disarm your opponent. You drop their weapon, and then you pick it up, and then you know, you make a fool out of them. You can also use Command to force them to drop their weapon, so you can sort of do it twice. The other one that's very, very good is Menacing Attack. You can cast Frighten on an enemy. It doesn't really cost any concentration, so this is a good way to frighten an enemy and absolutely take advantage of the situation. And Frighten is very, very strong. It's a very strong debuff in the game. They gain disadvantage to ability checks and attack rolls. Very, very strong. The others are okay. Um, yeah, you can explore through these, but those are the two that I prefer. Let's see, mobile is something that's pretty good as well. You don't have to be worried about terrain, but if it is ice, you will still slip and fall, so just be mindful of that. And you don't provoke opportunity attacks if you move after attacking an enemy. Very rare situation. If you ask me, don't take this, it's just not very good. Later in the game, you also gain a lot of boots that give you stuff like freedom of movement, so they negate the need to be worried about terrain. But yeah, this is just some advice. Polar Master is very specific, very niche. Even the Spear of Nirulna is actually not a spear, it's more like a trident. And it's a legendary trident, and it doesn't fall under any of these categories, so Polar Master does not work. But let's say you are in a situation where you find a Polearm, you can use the opportunity attack when the target comes within range. So it's a way of Alright, sorry, got interrupted a bit. But yeah, Polar Master is if you can basically lock an opponent from actually reaching you by using the range of your Polearm. It's like a 1.5, 1 meter range, something like that. So it works pretty well with other things like something like Shield Master, Sentinel, which basically allows you to use your reaction to attack an enemy when they attack an ally within that little range. It's also about 1.5 meters. And you get advantage on opportunity attacks. When you hit the creature with an opportunity attack, they also cannot move. You can essentially use Polar Master and Sentinel to lock an enemy within 1.5 meter range of you, and also just generally control the field from preventing them from moving to an ally or reaching an ally. It's a very specific fighting style. I don't really find it very special because I'm more than often just going after the boss. And if you want to be doing that, you will rarely end up in situations where you're in such close combat that you want to, hit this guy, protect that guy, hit this guy, protect that guy. It's just not the situation that you'll find yourself in more than often. Yeah, that's generally it. Resilient is not very good. If you want to maintain concentration, I used to think that Resilient Constitution was pretty good because it gives you proficiency bonus to your saving throws, but Warcaster is just better. Advantage in saving throws is huge, and you can use your reaction to cast Shocking Grasp if the target is moving out of range. So you have an option between an opportunity attack and Shocking Grasp. Good thing about Shocking Grasp is the opponent won't be able to use their opportunity attacks in the following turn, so if you want to prevent them from using reactions, this is an interesting way while maintaining concentration. You can still go for this if you want to. That's just a better option compared to something like Resilient, if you ever considered it. Ritual Caster is not good. Savage Attacker is one of the best feats in the game for Paladin because you have a lot of damage dice, and if you ask me, just always take this. Shield Master is something that you can consider if you're playing with the shield and you don't want to pump too many points into Dex. You can actually take this to get +2 to the Dex saving throws alone, and you can use a reaction to shield yourself against a spell specifically. Now, let me tell you, if your Dex is not high enough, +2 is not really going to be very useful for you. You do need a bunch of Dex to be able to utilize this properly, because otherwise you're always going to take half damage, and you're probably going to get hit by some of the effects of the spell. Um, yeah, that's just something you have to be careful with. AoE spells also you'll be able to prevent the damage, but it's still going to cost, I don't know, areas around you that's probably going to be foggy or fire or something, ice or something like that, that can affect you. Skill is not very good. Tavern Brawler is not very good. You can use the Nirulna with this thing to use your spell strength modifier twice to attack rolls, which is pretty insane. So I have like +6 strength, so that means I get +12 to my damage and attack rolls when I'm throwing the Spear of Nirulna, which is absolutely insane. Um, Tough is only good at the end game. If you are mage, perhaps you want to use this, but for paladin, you don't really need this. And weapon master, you don't really need this because you're already a master of all the weapons. So let's just take savage attacker and move on. There we go. Level 5 is when you get your extra attack, so don't ever miss this. Always take it. I'll go through what are the other spells that you get in a bit, but yeah, level 6 is very, very important. You get the Aura of Protection. This is what allows the Paladin to maintain concentration better than any other class in the game, because on top of already having, high Constitution, now I can gain the Aura of Protection, which gives me plus, not 0, but plus my Charisma modifier, which in this case is 3, to my saving throws. So additional +3 to all saving throws is pretty, pretty powerful. So always take this. Now, at level 7 is when the drop-off starts to happen, and this is where I always switch to Sorcerer, something I found to be super, super cool, especially, later in the game, because your Sorcerer points allow you to do a lot of crazy stuff that enhance your Paladin abilities in some way, and also gives you a lot more spell slots than you would not have achieved. With Paladin, the most you can get is level 3 spell slots, and you can get 3 of those. But with Sorcerer, you can get at least up to 1 level 5 spell slot, which is absolutely insane, and a bunch of level 4 spell slots which increase your smite damage as well. But yeah, let me show you the spells that are good. For cantrips, you generally want to take stuff like Friends, which is very, very good for conversation. Light, that's good for exploration. Shocking Grasp, that's good to prevent enemies from using their reactions. You can actually cast Shocking Grasp on an enemy and then move out of range from them because they can no longer opportunity attack you. Firebolt is generally useful because there's a bunch of things that can burn in the game, so just take it. As for the spells itself, you want to take Thunder Wave, which is a really, really good AoE push spell. And the other one I would say is Shield, which is a reaction ability to increase your AC by 5, which almost guarantees you to dodge some kind of spell or attack. As for the subclasses, Storm Sorcery is pretty fun because it gives you the Tempestus Magic. You can fly as a bonus action, and you won't get opportunity attack. I personally don't find this that unique or fun or special. But I understand that it can be fun and it can be used in certain scenarios that makes you just cooler. Draconic is pretty, pretty strong. It gives you HP for each sorcerer level. So let's say a level 6 to 12, it's 6 levels, so you get +6 HP. It's whatever. But and your Draconic Resilience, which if you aren't wearing armor, your base armor goes to is 13. You don't get advantage from either of these, but you do gain advantage from the fact that you get to pick your Dragon Ancestor, and they have certain abilities that they give you from there. So, for example, if you take the red one, it gives you Burning Hands, and of course you get some scars. And if I'm not mistaken, later on you actually gain some. I don't know, resistance, I think. Like some class features from the Draconic Bloodline that's actually pretty cool. Let me just see if I have it noted somewhere. Um, I think you can at one point add your charisma modifier to your AC or something like that. I think it's much later in the game. Let me just confirm it. Give me a sec. Yeah, no, I haven't really found enough information about it. I might make another separate video for it, but it's not that amazing. Wild Magic is the most fun. But you can definitely go for the other two if you like to, but I like to go for Wild Magic. Super fun. It allows me to pump in Wild Magic to just create some chaos in the battlefield, have some funny situations. It's very good for just gameplay, general, having fun, messing around. And it gives me the advantage to attack roll, ability checks, and saving throws, and I turn on my Tides of Chaos. It's one per short rest, but it's pretty useful. Let me show you. Now on, I'm just going to pump Sorcerer all the way to level 12. So the other spell I usually will take is something like maybe Burning Hands. Passive feature, this is pretty cool. I take Twin Spell and Extended Spell. I'll show you why. And we don't have to replace anything here. Level 3, we're going to take the Spell Enhance ability, which is very, very good for real world application. So we take that as well. Careful, Distant, Heightened, Quicken, Subtle. Heighten is pretty good. Take it. Nothing to replace. Level 4, we're going to take a cantrip here. Let's just take Ray of Frost. Yeah, sure. Let's take Ray of Frost. It's fine. Spell, another spell. Let's see. Darkness is fun. Dark Vision is even more fun. Let's take Dark Vision. And we get to pick another feat because we're level 4 Sorcerer. So we already have Savage Attacker. The other one you ideally want to take is Great Weapon Master. If you don't want to take this, you can just take Ability Score Improvement. But because I already have the plus plus, I can take Ability Score Improvement to Charisma. What this will do is give me extra to my saving throws. Um, Improves a bunch of my sorcerer spells as well. And that's pretty cool. So this is something I can go for instead of the GWM's plus 10 damage. It's really up to you. The way I see it, either one of these two will work. If you are more melee combat focused and you really think that you're able to land the plus 10 additional damage, then it's pretty good. Go for GWM. But yeah, this is generally it. Let me just make sure that there's nothing else that's actually cool here. Yeah, okay. Let's take GWM. Let's go for it. Okay, now at level 5, you definitely want to take the most powerful spell in the game, which is Haste. This is what will make you a demigod, basically. You gain an extra action. You gain your movement speed is doubled. You gain advantage on dex saving throw, and you have plus 2 to your AC. What more do you want? This is everything you want in the game, all in one package. So always take it. And now we are at level 6. So at level 6 Sorcerer, you can take one more very powerful spell. Daylight is pretty cool. If you want to, protection from energy is also pretty cool. So 3 options here for you to take. But remember, you don't really want to spend too many level 3 spell slots because haste is your priority. You could take some level 2 spells, but a lot of them that uses concentration is a bad idea. So just be careful that and make sure that the spell you're going to use doesn't require concentration. Yeah, but this is what I generally would recommend. You can get Ground Flight, it's also concentration, be careful. Fireball is fun if you really want to do it, go ahead, there's no harm. But yeah, let's just take Daylight actually. So there we go. Now we are a level 6 Paladin, level 6 Sorcerer, that's a level 12 altogether. And now let me show you how to use your abilities. First thing you want to do is cast your Aura of Protection. You have to cast it once, it is permanent. Once you've casted it, you can get rid of it. And as for the rest of your spells, let me just clear my Paladin spellbook. For your Sorcerer, you don't have to clear the spellbooks. Sorcerer spells are always prepared. So you want to keep your Haste as your main one, and the rest of the spells will just be there to support you. Now the cool thing about Sorcerer is your meta magic. You have the ability to spend your spell slot to gain sorcery point, and the ability to spend your sorcery point to get your spell slot. It is not an even exchange. You'll always use one level 1 spell slot to start to create sorcery points, so make sure that you don't keep doing this back and forth, you lose all your spell slots. Um, and Bend Luck is one sorcery ability which within 18 meters can affect any ally. It's 2 sorcery points, so you have, let's say I have 6 now. I can create a bit more of those by doing something like this. So let's say I use um, this is to unlock spell slot. Where is the one that gives me to unlock a sorcery point? So let's say I take my level 5 spell slot. Or let's just use level 4, make it even. Okay, there we go. And I have 10 sorcery points. So I can use Ben Luck um, and either give plus 1d4 bonus to ability checks or 1d4 penalty to ability checks, and it works 5 different times. If I also turn it on as a reaction, I can actually make sure that where is it? Ben Luck, there we go, reaction. And let's say an ally makes an attack roll and they're going to miss it, or an enemy attacks an ally and they're going to get hit. Ben Luck will trigger as a reaction, and I can do this 5 times to protect an ally or to make sure an ally lands an attack. This is absolutely insane. It's one of the best things about a sorcerer, and because of the fact that the AoE is massive, it actually reaches nearly half the battlefield. By being 18 meters, always have this active. This is absolutely powerful. But this is the cool thing about having the sorcerer. The other things about meta magic is that you can use stuff like twin spell, extended spell, and to extend your haste. So for example, let's say I generally have haste for, what is this, 10 turns. Turn on extended. Look at this, it goes to 20 turns. You don't ever need to use this specifically for 20 turns because it's still a risk that you're going to have your haste broken. You'd rather just have it on for 10 turns, but it is still pretty insane that you have the ability to do this. The other thing you can do is something like twin spell. It allows you to cast your haste into an ally, not just yourself, so you can cast it on 2 people, and that allows you to make your haste split up into 2 different people. That's also pretty powerful. The last one is the heightened spell. You generally want to use your heightened spell for things like where is it? I mean, get the class action abjure. No, there's one that called drop. I need to get drop. There we go. Command. Okay, so when you have command equipped, right? Command is insane because it allows you to tell an opponent to drop their weapon on the ground, move closer, freeze, or flee and whatnot. I have forced my opponents to drop a bunch of weapons, picked it up, and smacked them with it, and it's absolutely hilarious. So if you have heightened spell, you guarantee the chance of command actually hitting, and you can make an opponent drop a weapon. This is a 70% chance because of heightened spell. If I don't use that, it's much lower. And increasing the level just increases the number of enemies that are affected. If I go to level 5, I can hit like 5 different enemies with this, or 6 different enemies. That's gonna be insane. Let me just cast this. And I think a weapon dropped. But she didn't have any weapons, okay. But it's hilarious that you're able to just do that. She's back, don't worry, she'll be fine with it. But yeah, let me show you what are the good items for you to have equipped. Equip your Thunderous, Command, Bless, Lesser, Aid, and Protection from Poison. These are the things you want to have equipped. The rest of it is just not good because a lot of it is concentration, and you don't really want to have that many concentration items equipped because you could make a mistake, and they're not that powerful. They don't help you as much. Sorcerer abilities help you a lot more. So these are pretty much all that you need to win the entire game. Trust me, it's absolutely powerful. It's an insane build, and as you can see, our level 5 spell slot, which means my Divine Smite can do as much as up to 77 damage. On average, that's about 50 damage on that smite, and if I use a critical, it's nothing in the game survives it so far, which is why I want this game to be much more difficult. So Larian, if you are listening to this, please make the game a little bit more difficult. I've come from a world of Divinity Original Sin where the game felt a lot more difficult, it was a lot more complex, and here I feel like the enemies just aren't able to handle us. We are too powerful, and we definitely need just another higher difficulty for those of us who find this game too easy. We are not asking you to make it more difficult for players that are already finding it difficult. Just make something like an honor mode or a hell mode or something like that, just to make the game a bit more, like bosses to feel more like bosses. Because right now we figure out the boss in a single save and then we're able to kill them the next turn. It's just way too easy for us. But yeah, I can actually show you how this paladin works out in actual combat. Let me just leave this place. Where are we? Lower city. Okay. Let me find like a high level enemy. Level 4. There should be a Steel Watcher somewhere down here, actually. Come, let's go. I remember there was a Shield Watcher somewhere here. Should be able to use that. There we go. Steel Watcher level 11. That's a good example. So, at this point in the game, I have the Baldur's Giant Slayer that allows me to get Giant Form. That's pretty awesome. Um, but I'm not going to showcase Giant Form. I'm just going to attack the Steel Watcher like normal and show you what the smites can do and how powerful um, just a regular Paladin will be with just these smite abilities, because that's all you really need to understand from this character. But yeah, here we go. So, Luck of the Far Realms is a tadpole ability, and it's not a very good way to show you how the actual damage works, because this will guarantee the crit.
You were
Now,
witnessed assaulting someone.
let me just attack. Alright, so I haven't landed my smite yet, and it's hilarious that it's locked into the reaction. So I so far did about, what is it, 30 damage? 33 slashing damage. Now at level 5, check this out. There we go. Another 33 radiant damage. So that's about 60 damage onto this Steel Watcher without a single crit. And that's actually pretty insane. It's pretty powerful. Let me just end the other guy's turn and let's see how my defensive abilities are. There we go. I have a reaction called Charm. I'm not going to use it. And now we're going to do it. I thought this person would attack me twice, but here we go. Moving out of the way. Steel Watcher is going to attack me. That's absolutely fine. I can take it. Alright. So generally in the fight, the first thing you want to do is haste yourself. And because the fact that you can use haste as a action, you'll only be able to do one more action in the same turn. If you have it activate as a bonus action, that would be pretty insane, but this is good enough. Trust me, you don't need to be absolutely broken. But yeah, let's haste myself. Level 3 spell. Concentration haste is on. And now it's my turn to attack. And at this point, usually there's no need to buff your ally. They don't need to do anything else. You don't need bless. You don't need to do anything at all. Just go and start attacking the biggest, baddest dude that you see on the field. You want to make sure your Great Weapon Master's all in is turned on. If you're getting anything like 88%, keep it on. Because if you turn it off, you're going to get 100%, something like 99. It's very good. But if, let's say, you see something like maybe 49% or something very low, then you want to turn off GWM just to make sure that you have a higher chance of landing it. But yeah, let me just go and attack him. There we go, and then do the Divine Smite level 4 here, and that's pretty cool. Let me just check my reactions. Yeah, all seem to be good. I just don't have my reaction this turn because I used it to charm the other person. But that's my first attack. Here's my second attack. Let me save my level 4 smite for the critical. I'm gonna do a level 3 smite. I'm gonna save one more level 3 spell slot because I want to make sure I can get haste up the next time if I need to. So let me just attack him. It's a miss, and that's good enough. We are absolutely fine. We don't need to worry about anything. We don't need to vow of enmity because 88% is a very high chance of hitting. But yeah, let's just end the turn here. As you can see, this is a good example of how my ally has the reaction shield, but I also have the reaction bend luck. So as a sorcerer, I'm able to use my luck bending abilities across the field to protect my allies or even myself. And that's pretty awesome. There we go. I bend luck. Nice. Now, something to remember now that I've already bent my luck. Let me just end my turn. See how I am managing to survive my concentration saving throws? That's all because of my insane aura of protection. There's also a few other things affecting it, but that's generally the thing to note. Now let's see, do I have my Luck of the Far Realms? I have lost my reaction because of using my ability to show you how the Sorcerer can protect an ally, but it's fine, doesn't really matter. Let me just get rid of this person here by just attacking them like normal. Let's just do level 1 Divine Smite, attack them one more time. I don't need another Divine Smite. And then we can actually just move around. I can also jump straight beside this Watcher. I don't have to be worried about having an opportunity attack. Like this person might reach me because they have a pole arm. The opportunity attack is a little bit further, so if I try to move this way, you can see how far their attack of opportunity reaches. That's pretty insane. I'm just going to jump so that I don't have to be worried about it. And let me actually just jump here. Yeah, there we go. And now I'm actually able to attack the Steel Watcher. But you know what? Let's do something. You know what? Let me just use one more attack actually. There we go. Because we killed the other person, we actually have Executioner, which allows me to run a critical strike. So I can actually show you how much the critical damage does here. I don't need the Tadpole ability, so that's pretty cool. Um, there we go. We landed an attack, and then we can use our level 4 Divine Smite, and that the Watcher is dead. Now the Watcher is detonating, which means in the next turn they're going to self-detonate, so that's why they're glowing like that. I won't worry too much about it. But what I'm going to do instead is something fun. Let me just move here, and let me use this person as an improvised weapon to throw them here. Oh, I need 16 to hit. I can use Tides of Chaos. There we go, that's perfect. And now that they're prone on the ground, we can freely move away all the way here, out of range. Let's end our turn. Awesome. They're trying to attack my ally without moving out of the way from the Steel Watcher. Oh, they actually moved. Okay, that's cool. I thought they were just going to stay there and not move. That would have been pretty fun though. No worries, let's just move around here.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
Let's see if I can actually push this person. I won't be able to lift this person, it's too heavy for me. But I should be able to... Nah, it's too bad. I wouldn't be able to push them even if I wanted to. Do I have any strike attacks? You know what, let's just... I will do that. Alright, it's another turn. Okay, and there you go. There's another turn to use our reactions here. So it's fine. We can go ahead and just use... Actually, what we can take the attack. Let's just take it. I don't want to use the charm. Don't use the charm. There you go. That one exploded. Now let me actually just walk up and... This is 58 HP. This is 40. Let me just go and attack her. There we go. And we managed to clear all of these people almost by ourselves. Oh, okay. So I need to use luck if I want to actually land a hit here. Sure, why not? Let's go back here and attack this person. Divine Smite. And there we go. We cleared off all of these people. I have 4 allies. I didn't need all of them. Managed to clear all of these people pretty easily. That's an easy way for me to showcase my abilities as a paladin at this point in the game. But yeah, the sorcerer abilities, as you can see, play a huge role to be able to protect your allies, control the battlefield, guarantee your attacks land, and also give you the abilities to heighten. Um, in fact, I should have actually shown the dual casting of the haste on my ally. I could have shown you that. That'd be pretty fun. But it's pretty broken at this point. But yeah, thanks for watching. That's about it for my paladin. Time to go back home in my bloody costume and get myself cleaned up. Time for a shower. See you guys, GG's, and here is my weapon set again if you're curious. Helm of the Balduran is something you get much later in the game. And Balduran's Giant Slayer is the legendary weapon that I'm wielding. It's a two-handed great sword. Amulet of Greater Health for 23 Constitution. Gauntlets of Hill Strength for the 23 Strength. Using Armor of Persistence for Resistance and Blade Ward. Boots for Freedom of Movement and a Long Strider. I have 21 AC. I'm using the Killer Sweetheart for what do you call this? Increased attack rolls. Increased critical chance. So I can use this additional to my Executioner ability. And also I had GWM's extra attack earlier showing up here. I think I didn't use it, but that's another thing that you get if you manage to get a kill on an enemy or you get critical. It's pretty insane. I'm using Cloak of Displacement just to get some little bit of advantage in dodging attacks. Nothing really special, but because I'm always in the thick of the fight, I just find it a little bit more useful. This is useful to talk to people. It makes my insight even more insightful, I guess. But yeah, that's about it. GG's. Thanks for watching.